Well, my name's Jamie Hockemeyer, and I work with the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality out of the Flint field office. Basically, we wanted to put together a quick 20-minute presentation on residential sampling. We're going to focus on Flint sampling, how we sample Flint residents and the bottles we use and the information that's provided by that. But we want to express that it's more than just Flint. Any resident of any system can be sampled. You know, one of the main things you could do if you live in a town and you're wondering, you know, what is my lead and copper results? What are my back T? Those kind of things, even down to just hardness, okay? You can contact your local water department of that municipality and ask these questions. I'm actually a licensed operator for the state of Michigan. I worked for the city of Owasso, city of Ludington, and the city of Mount Pleasant, running the water plants, distribution systems, and the labs. So all day long, you'd always get questions from residents. You know, you get water quality complaints. That's what us as operators are there to do. We're there to go out, talk with residents, provide information, you know, do whatever we can to solve those concerns. So we want to talk a little more about the CORE program. If you've ever heard it before, it's the Community Outreach and Resident Education Program. We run that program out of the Flint field office on Bristol Road. There's many different components to the CORE program, and one of the important components of that program is to get people information about sampling, to provide them a sample kit, to teach them how to correctly sample, where to take the sample, all these different things. And we want to follow up with every resident that samples, and we encourage residents to sample often. Sample every other week, every month, you know, sample your kitchen, your bathroom faucets. That's information that you, as the resident, would be very excited to have, and we also want to know. I also run the high lead, high copper program out of that office. When I get a result back that hits a threshold, I have 24 hours to get out to that resident, and I want to talk to that resident. I want to find the source of the lead, find them a solution, talk about what's going on. So that's all these things. It all comes down to sampling. It's very important to do that. Okay? This is kind of hard to see, but this is a testing fee schedule. This is all the different type of sampling that you can do and that cities do. Everything from bacteria to ammonia to nitrate. You know, usually when, let's say, somebody puts in a new well, there's a whole bunch of samples that have to be taken so that we can say that that well, yep, it meets the standards, there's no problems there, that water can be used. So again, if you're interested in what your water quality is, contact your municipality. You know, they can come out and do sampling. Another thing is, if you want independent information, you can contact the DEQ laboratory in Lansing. They will send you all the sampling information, the sampling forms, how to sample. You can send it right back to them. There's even external independent laboratories that you can contact as well. So for the city of Flint, we had the idea that we know where the lead is coming from, right? There's lead service lines, lead solder, so on and so forth. But we also know that a lot of the old fixtures, those really beautiful antique ones, the ones that never tarnish, that never break, those have a lot of lead in them, okay? And in 2014, there was an executive order that came down and said that manufacturers cannot produce faucets that have over a certain amount of lead in them. It's actually 0.25%. I think it's by weighted average on the wetted surface. A bunch of, you know, jumble of words and whatnot. But that basically means that what lead they do use, the component, needs to be basically certified lead-free, very little or none at all. And that's one more way that we can lower the exposure to lead. So we know that most houses in Flint and most houses throughout the entire state and the country have these pre-2014 lead certified faucets, right? So we said, man, if we can design a bottle kit, and you may have seen them before, it's this double bottle kit that we have out now. We actually utilize this kit to figure out where that lead is coming from. And we're going to show you how that all works. And of course, these are for lead and copper, little nice little photos and such. For a compliant sample, you know, we're talking right from the EPA, usually doing lead and copper. We used to use, and we still do use, this 1 liter bottle, okay? That's compliant samples. Systems have to follow a very specific sampling regimen using this bottle at Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 homes, all this other stuff that's within compliance. What we took, instead of having one 1 liter bottle, we divided that into one 250 and one 750 bottle, okay? And what happens is the very first water you take is in this smaller bottle. And what happens is the water that touches that faucet and any of the lines that lead up to that faucet is caught in this bottle. Okay, then the subsequent plumbing past that is caught in the bigger bottle. And what we see is if we find a spike in the concentration of lead and copper in the first bottle, we know that that source is somewhere where this water went into the first bottle, and it comes right out to being the faucet. And we have a faucet replacement program that when you sample and you find high lead, it's one of these triggers, we want to remove that lead exposure. We want to replace those faucets with these lead standard, lead certified faucets, and then we resample after that to make sure that, hey, that was the source, we've removed it, now look what's going on. So if you have never sampled before, I highly entice you to stop by a pod. You can also call what's known as the call for core line, which is 810-238-6700. And one of our core teams can come right out to your door and provide you that sample kit and how to sample. And we can get you sampled and get your information back to you, okay? So we kind of already talked about it, but within this bottle kit, we give you the bottles, we give you the form that you fill out. There's also a card, and it states, why do I have 2 bottles? And basically, as I said before, these 2 bottles are there so we can figure out where is that lead coming from. You know, that little bottle, that's all the water that touches the faucet and the leads to the faucet. The bigger bottle is deeper inside the home. So this one bottle right here, right, we take this, it's 1,000 milliliters, it's one bottle. These 2 bottles combined also still are 1,000 milliliters, okay? But this little bottle right here is going to capture the water that the faucet is where it touches the faucet and the lines right to the faucet. And we know from experience that most of the lead that we find is coming from that faucet. That's actually the source of lead. So what we want to do is we want to use this kit, and then we can have it be sampled and say, hey, look at that. All the lead is coming out from that first bottle, and there's none from the second bottle. So we know the source of the lead is from where water came out and went into that little bottle. The end of this, you can call the EEC and you can get to anybody. You can get right to me, right to my line. I'll even give you my cell numbers, 517-512-3734. And if I can't help you, I have contacts and other people I work with that I can get you to. And even outside of the state, we work with a lot of local partners, the Genesee County Health Department, EPA, the different utilities, everybody else. We can provide that information to you. So we have a little video. If you'd like to see how to properly sample, we can show that video. It's only like 2 minutes long, and it's actually another one of our DEQ staff. And it's actually also on the website, if you'd like to see it there too.
These are the new instructions for residential water sampling in Flint. As you will notice when you obtained your new water sampling kit, there are now 2 sample bottles. The 2 bottles will provide additional data to study the impact of faucets as a potential source of lead. While lead service lines continue to be replaced with state funding, it is important to consider all potential sources of lead. The smaller bottle will capture the water that has been in close contact with the faucet. This will help show how much lead comes from the faucet. The larger bottle will capture the water deeper in the plumbing system. Only use the cold water faucet in the kitchen or bathroom. No other faucet will work for sampling. If the faucet is connected to a faucet mount filter, water softener, iron filter, or reverse osmosis system, it must be removed or bypassed. The faucet you select to take the sample from should have been used within the last 24 hours, but it is important that you not use any water in your house for at least 6 hours before you take a sample. It is best to sample early in the morning or after you return home from work, just as long as the water was not used during the night or while you were away at work. Remember, do not flush any water from the faucet before you take the sample. To start, open the small and large bottles and set them on the counter near the sink faucet. Do not touch the inside of the bottle or the cap. Next, make sure the small sample bottle is directly under the faucet before you turn it on. The bottle should not be touching the faucet. That way, the bottle is positioned to capture the very first stream of water out of the faucet. Now turn on the cold water. As the water is filling the small bottle, grab the larger bottle and hold it near the small bottle. As soon as the water reaches the neck of the small bottle, immediately slide the larger bottle under the water stream. Do not turn the water off between samples. Fill the water to the neck of the larger bottle and place the full water sample bottles on the counter.
One very important point is that is bypassing the filter. We want to make sure we collect water that isn't filtered. We want to know what's actually coming out of your plumbing. So I want to make that very important point.
Now shut off the water and put the caps on both samples tightly. Please fill out the orange sampling form on the other side of the written instructions. Please place the filled bottles and completed sampling form in the Ziploc bag that was provided and return the kit for testing. For sample drop-off sites, bottled water, water filters, and free water testing kits, please visit the web address on the screen or contact the DEQ Environmental Assistance Center at 1-800-662-9278.
So drop-off sites would be City Hall or any of the 9 water distribution sites. We also call them the C-pods. And our core teams can also pick up sample bottles as well. The result page that you actually fill out to send into the lab, you can choose and select, is this bypassed or not bypassed from a filter? So you can actually also test the filter and get your results back and look that way as well. That's actually one of the next things I'm going to show you. So on the back of that page, it's in your sample kit. All this information is also available with some nice pictures to help guide along people how to do it correctly. It's basically the same thing as the video. And then right here is the actual part where you're going to fill out. It's very important you put your address and the date you collected the sample. In order for you to get your results back, we got to have the address because we're going to mail it to you, and we also put it online. So some people accidentally forget to fill out the form. They'll send a sample in, and then they'll call us, say, I never got my result, and I'll look for it. Unfortunately, either the address wasn't filled out or it was illegible. We couldn't actually read the address. It's very, very important that we fill this out properly, okay? So here's those pods we talked about in City Hall. There's one in every ward. So I'm sure most people are familiar. It's the water, they'll say water distribution sites. Usually it has the bottled water and the Penske trucks and such. And then this is what your example results form would look like. And I've modified this so that the person's information isn't there. But you'll receive back this form. It's a little complicated, but one of the reasons that I'm here and I like to talk to residents, I like to answer these questions. What we're looking at, and you can see it right here, that when they took this sample, there's a big difference between the first bottle and the second bottle. What that's indicating to us is that the source is up in the faucet or next to the faucet, whatever water went into that 250 milliliter bottle. And these are the way that we can target to get that faucet replaced. Then we can sample after that and continue working and trying to find solutions. That's the most important thing, is that water's sitting in that spot right there and it's able to make contact with the material. In this bottle, the very first bottle is going to be touching the faucet, the leads and the valves right there. Well, that's where it's going to leach any of that lead and copper into. We want that water to sit at least 6 hours because that's the average time that water sits. You go to bed, you get up the next morning. We want to know what would be your exposure after that water sitting for at least 6 hours. That's why that 6 hours is so important. We don't want a pre-flush sample or a moving sample. We want to know if the water sat, we want to know what that water would be like. You could take your sample after an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. You could get a bunch of sample kits and test it yourself. That's what we're trying to get through with all these sampling. We want the residents to take these actions, sample the filter water, see what you get back. That's what we want you to do. We want to be as transparent and bring as much information as we can to the resident. And this kit is what provides one avenue for a fixture replacement. So one of the many places you can go to see your results, you can Google Michigan DEQ Flint water, and you'll see this page come up, okay? And at the bottom of it, you'll see this testing results tab. If you click on that, you can go and see all the blood lead testing, sentinel round, residential, schools, establishments. All that testing is for you to see. And one of the cool things is all the residential. I mean, there's, I forget how many, 30-some thousand samples already we've got up on there. But like the schools, you can see, because we went through and we tested all the schools beforehand, and then we went and replaced the fixtures and sampled again. Then we put filters on and sampled again. And all that's all information you can find on the web right now. It's all in the reports, all the information, the dates, everything. Yeah, and the good thing is, through the core program, because we're making contact with so many residents, we have what's known as REACTS. It's a resident engagement plan, where the information that they see every day going door to door, we ask them to please report these things back to us so we can affect change to the program. And when we affect change to the program, it affects change to all these different programs. So if you ever talk to a core team, talk to them about what you're seeing or what you'd like to see, or ask them those questions. We can try to get all that stuff back out to every resident. The core program, it's a living thing. It starts out with information, and we go through different avenues to provide all the resources and everything we can. And if we can't do it, we have ways to get in contact and give them other resources. And if something changes along the way, then we affect change the program, and then we go back all over again. And we're going to keep going back to every residence every month. So yeah.